Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining me for another reading of my book, What It's Like to Chill Out with Ratko, Mladic, Radovan Karadzic, and Goran Hadjic, Confessions of a Female War Crimes Investigator by myself, Miss Jill Louise Starr. It's the story of my trip to Yugoslavia for 3 weeks that former Serbian ambassador diplomat Darko Trifinovic and his wife Bojana had invited me in 2001. So let me just go back to the reading. If you hear a big noise, you'll know it's my kitchen ceiling caving in. It's like getting lower and lower, and I'm on public housing, Section 8 assistance. So I called the Paterson, New Jersey Public Housing Authority about an hour ago and told them that I've notified my landlord and it's not structurally sound here because the kitchen ceiling is getting several inches lower every 2 days, and it looks like the wall in the entire kitchen is going to cave in on me. But so if it does, you hear that big sound, you'll know what happened. No one seems to care. Anyway, I'm getting back to where I left off yesterday. Me, Darko, and Bojana, we got in Darko's car and we went to the Montenegrin island, private island, Sveti Stefan near Budva for a night out. We stopped to have a drink at one of the many outdoor bars and cafes and listened to live entertainment while we sipped our drinks. Then I went to buy a bathing suit at a small shop where when Darko told me to follow him and Bojana, he wanted to show me the most amazing bar ever I've ever seen in the world. And he pointed over there, and I looked, and the ocean was like over there. It's like he pointed out to the ocean, and I'm like, "Where are you pointing?" It's water and some boats, and I couldn't really see, but then I looked a little closer, and in the darkness I saw some lights. And I said, "What is it?" He said, "It's the island. We're going over there." And I didn't really know what he meant. And he goes, "Come on." And I followed him, and he came to a door, an entrance, and it went under the ocean, under the Adriatic Sea, like maybe a quarter mile. There was a female guard there, standing there at each end of the tunnel. And he said that we had to go. I said, "How are we going to get there?" He said the bar was an island or something, a nightclub on the island or something like that. I said, "How are we going to get there? It's an island, and there's ocean between me and it." And he goes, "Come on, we're going to take a tunnel or something like that. I'll show you." And so I followed him, and we took a tunnel to this rocky little island, and that's where it was an island made into a nightclub. It was the coolest place I've really ever been in. And like I said yesterday, I've looked on all the Montenegrin websites I could possibly found, and I googled them all, and you could find Sveti Stefan, Sveti Stefan. It's a private island in Montenegro, about halfway down the coast. But I don't see any mention of a bar or another island off that island, which is interesting. I loved it. You've got to get there. Anyway, the bar itself was actually situated on a small rocky island less than about a quarter mile from Sveti Stefan, the island I was on. Upon entering the bar, I noticed it had many levels. All outside, it was surrounded by roaring nighttime surf and the sea and live entertainment. I saw a few people illegally swimming, and I asked Darko if I could go in to swim too, because I love swimming, but he informed me that the swimming area was closed for the evening. I wanted to say there's other people swimming, so why can't I? But I accepted his answer that it was closed for the evening. I wondered if it really was. Anyway, he wanted to order some drinks, so the three of us just sat there chilling by the ocean on the island. And Darko said, "Look around, this is really cool." I'm like, "Wow, it is." I said, "What's in there?" And they were like, he goes, "People live in the island," and it was a rocky structure, the island, and there were windows situated in the rock, and it was night, and you could see, people live there. You could see the lights on in this rock. And he told me that people lived there, but important people. And I said, "Can we go in?" And he's like, "No, we can't do that." So, anyway, after we had our drinks and the singer came over to our table, we went back under the tunnel to the main part of Sveti Stefan, and Darko showed me all the gambling casinos, and we walked about as far to the other side of Sveti Stefan that I can possibly remember, because we walked all over. We these pancakes where you dip this chocolate syrup, and I forget the name of them. It's something I don't know the name. They're really good delicacy. We stopped. We walked along the yachts and the boats. Um, we walked all over, and Darko pointed out at the end of the island, about as far as we could walk, on a little slope down, it was there were some prestigious casinos, and I said if we go in there, and he giggled at me, which usually meant that it's for some prominent people. We're not going to go in there, or you got to be kidding, or something like that. It was reserved for military personnel or something like that. So he said no, he didn't want to bring me in there. So we didn't. We turned around and we walked back to the main part of the island. I had thought, since you could see Italy from the other side on a clear day from Budva, Montenegro, I thought maybe, organized crime owned those casinos or something. Well, he laughed. It was always dark. We used to talk around about organized crime a lot. Anyway, Montenegro and Sveti Stefan, the Budva area, to me, on Montenegro was akin to a luxurious playground for the ultra-rich and famous, as well as infamous, because I did meet Goran Hadjic there, and he read my palm. When we walked back via the way of the tunnel underneath the Adriatic Sea, we stopped at a small outdoor restaurant, all ordering some type of delicious pancake we enjoyed by dipping it in chocolate syrup. And then we walked a little more, and I bought some little trinkets, and it was getting kind of late. It was like 2 a.m. It was late. But the island was never slept. It's the island that never sleeps, I'll have to say. They say New York never sleeps. Well, let me tell you, Sveti Stefan, private island on Montenegro, never sleeps in the summer. It was late and it was popping, but we went back. We got into, I don't know where we went. I followed Darko up and down stairs and dark corridors, and we found his way to his car, and we drove off the island. It was dark. I can't remember, but I'm assuming it was the way that we came in on that pathway that you see the picture of. I never really seen any cars on it when I googled it, but I was there with his. Anyway, we drove back to the hotel and we all passed out. The next day, Darko took us merely to another gorgeous beach. It was reminiscent of Greece. The water was sapphire blue, clear and warm. It was really beautiful. One of my friends on Facebook that lives by the coast on Budva in Montenegro told me that was a private beach club for the Prime Minister of Montenegro. I forget the name of it. It was very beautiful. And we took out a boat there, and Darko stowed away on his clothes because she's always nude sunbathing, and he took him in the water, and she didn't swim. She was like, "Give me back my clothes," and he's like, "Oh, come and get them." Anyway, eventually he did give her back her clothes. Obviously, he was just joking. And we stayed there the day and ordered some fried chicken. I bought lunch. The beach itself was not large, but it was completely hidden by huge rocky cliffs. I remember walking down the beautiful little slope. My friend on Facebook told me now it's all developed and it looks quite different than it did back then, 10 years ago. The beach was small, about a quarter mile out into the Adriatic. Darko and I jumped in for a swim. Boyana was primarily nude sunbathing on the boat and on the beach all the time because she didn't know how to swim and she didn't like it. And since she was unable to swim, Darko teased her by stealing her clothes, pretending not to give them back to her, and diving into the water off her boat. She immediately became upset, demanding Darko return her clothes. Darko soon complied with her demands. Thereafter, we ended the day with lunch and drinks. The following day was one of my vacation high points. We visited the Ostrog Monastery. Driving to the Ostrog Monastery was long, hot, and boring. It was kind of reminiscent of driving through Texas. It never seemed to end, and it was hot. It lies somewhere deep between the Montenegrin coastline and the inland in the high mountains. I believe it's one of the highest locations in Europe. And when I was there, Darko told me about the miracle of the grape. Some monks or some holy people of the Orthodox Christian religion brought some grape plants, and they are never supposed to grow at that altitude because of there's not too much oxygen, but by some miracle, thanks be to God, there are grapevines that grow at Ostrog, and they call it the miracle of the grape. We visited the Saints' Holy Sepulchre, and we left flour and food for the monks and priests, and maybe some money. I don't really remember. There's a picture of it. It's a beautiful monastery built in the mountain, and when I saw that, and I think of all the places there are to hide, where possibly Ratko, Mladic, Radovan Karadzic, and Goran Hadjic, and they, could have been over the years. I think of Ostrog. All you have to do is go into one of those mountains or those tunnels, and you could disappear forever. It's a beautiful place. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world, and I suggest everyone should try to go to the former Yugoslavia and see it if they can. It's a very holy place. We venerated the holy relics, leaving an offering of either food or money at the door leading into the sepulchre of the saint. I'm not sure which one. Leaving, we looked around the gift shop and had coffee at the small Ostrog Monastery Cafe, and Darko gave me the tour of where the monks sleep and shower. We weren't supposed to be in there, and he kind of said we should get out fast, but he showed me around, and then we made a long drive back to the hotel. The only thing, driving about halfway between Budva and Ostrog in the Montenegrin mountains, it's very beautiful, and the terrain totally changes. The mountains look white, and you look down and you can see the Bay of Kotor, which is a beautiful U-shaped kind of bay that you can see pictures of if you Google Montenegro. I have some pictures posted on the Casa of Kotor. We looked down in it, and it was stunning. And we stopped. It looked like you're about halfway through Texas, except Texas is flat and Montenegro is mountainous, thousands and thousands of feet high. I don't know. In the middle of nowhere, all of a sudden there was a really fancy restaurant. It was like driving through halfway across Texas, and there's nothing but desert. And all of a sudden you come across a real fancy, luxurious restaurant. And there was you had to wait maybe 2 hours to get on a line to eat there, and it cost a lot. I paid for everybody, and I was wondering, what the heck was this restaurant doing in the middle of the Montenegrin mountains in these small towns? Maybe they were 50 miles and you'd see it a few places, or a small town up in the hills somewhere. It was a huge restaurant. It looked like a fancy place you'd see in New York City. It was really quite interesting. We drove back from Ostrog, and we had dinner in the usual manner. And Bojana became overcome with a terrible toothache that evening. And tomorrow we went down to the aid of Bojana, which is at the Kosovo border, and we swam there. It was and we took Bojana, Darko's wife, to get her tooth fixed at a Muslim Albanian dentist. We must have been in Kosovo, or right over the border, because the aid of Bojana is right there, on the border of Kosovo and Albania, and the southernmost part of Montenegro. And that's where I got fed up with the bank for not exchanging my wet money, and Darko told me not to, but he had to stay with Bojana at the dentist, and we were all starved. I walked up to a couple of organized crime Albanians that were exchanging money and cigarettes illegally at a table outside on the street outside Kosovo, and Darko got very mad at me because he said you could have gotten hurt. That was illegal. You're not supposed to exchange money illegally. But I said, look, now we can go eat, right? But I did. I mean, I probably shouldn't have, but my hunger overtook me. I said, look at that. The guy said, what do you want? Well, before that happened, actually, I bumped into a teenager, an Albanian teenager. They were everywhere. They were dressed for like Catholic school, like we're dressed in uniform. And I said, I just took a chance. I said, hey, I can exchange some money. And I told her I was from New York, and she spoke English, and she was well dressed. I told her I studied human rights, and there was no refugees anywhere. In fact, I mean, you couldn't even tell there was a war on the border of Kosovo. And she didn't run up to me and say, oh, you're from New York, you study human rights, please tell everyone, the rape's going on here. There was no mention of any war crimes. Everyone was happy. I saw no evidence of any war crimes whatsoever on the border of Kosovo. Darko did tell me at the time we were 13 meters from the Kosovo border where we were. She goes, oh yeah, just go ask those guys to exchange your money over there for about a half mile. So I did. I gave them $3,000 cash, and they took it and they left, and they were back in 10 minutes with my euros. They didn't screw me over. Anyway, like I said, Darko was quite pissed at the incident, but at least we were able to eat, and After we had some food, he was kind of pleased, and he shut up about it. Anyway, the next day was when Darko introduces me to his friend Goran Hadjic, and he read my poem. I guess Radovan Karadzic and Goran really got into the alternative medicine scene because it was definitely Goran Hadjic that read my poem. He told me I had a long lifeline, so I guess that's lucky. All right, I'll stop for today. Thanks for being here.